All right, hello all. I'm Micah. This is Graham. We are Brother Telepathy. We've got another video for you guys. This is going to be the 2025 NFL Draft. We've already done one iteration of this. This is going to be the My Guys Sleeper Edition. So a little bit more deep sleepers than you're used to. We obviously have our My Guys video out if you want to check that out. But this is we're going a little bit more in depth of later prospects or maybe prospects who are flying under the radar that we're really into. Before we get started, Graham, you got any thoughts?
No, you got it. I mean, yeah, pretty much just guys that we are maybe slightly higher than consensus on. I know we said that last time, but this is more guys maybe that aren't being talked about as much as we would maybe do if we were in those positions. So we're in that position now, so let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready to
Cool.
get to the first one.
Yeah, and actually, real quick before I say this, I think that with something like this where it's deep sleepers, this is going to be one of those videos that doesn't age well, where we look back and we're like, oh gosh, these guys actually sucked. Like, so much of the NFL is like scheme dependent and where you end up and the coaching you have around you and the team you have around you. So these guys could be phenomenal in the right system and we look like geniuses, or they end up, playing in New York and we look bad. So we'll see how it goes either way. Graham, I'll let you get started on this one.
Yeah, no, I like the clarification you made there. There are definitely hits and misses in NFL draft evaluations, so hopefully we'll have some hits here on this one. Yeah, so first guy up is Braden Swinson, edge rusher out of LSU. Not had a ton of experience at or really playing period so far in his career, but really shined in the times that he played. Athletic, like really athletic guy. Good bend, all the stuff that you want from an edge rusher. Just a guy that I think has a lot of potential, and I think this is a guy that could certainly go early day two. At this point, probably more of like a round three guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went day two earlier in the day two range. So yeah, a guy that I like. He is currently on my big board in the mid 30s. So, I've got an early second round grade on him at this point. Just a guy that I think, has a lot of potential moving forward. And again, he's pretty young at the position and just playing in general. So I think, we talked about with edge rushers in particular, want to take your athletic anomaly type guys. I'm not saying he's on like the Shamar Stewart level of athletic freak, but he's got a lot of those traits. He's got a high motor, all the stuff that you want out of your edge rusher. Not the biggest guy, and that's kind of been a theme with this entire edge class that you've probably noticed too. A lot of like, you could maybe call it tweener guys who aren't like the biggest in a measurable standpoint, but just really good athletic speed guys. A lot of 3-4 outside linebackers in this edge class in particular. So I think Braden Swinson fits into that and certainly is in the mix for early round two type of edge rusher there.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. And I like what you also said about traits. I think that in the early rounds, like the round one, partially into round two, you're just trying to go like who you think is the best guys. And then once you get into those later picks, you're looking for specific traits. And I think that Braden Swinson, like you said, has traits that are desirable to a lot of teams. So definitely someone who's going to go earlier than probably anticipated in a lot of instances. So I like that for sure. Deion Walker, top 50 guy for me on my big board. Not everyone's flavor. I get it. Kind of like a one-trick pony, at least at this point in his career. Like he has possibilities in the pass rushing game, but he's primarily a run stopper. As you can tell by the picture, he's 6'7", 400, 6'7", 345, whatever it is. Kind of like the Tavondre Sweat of last year, like at least the type of player, not the frame, obviously. But I like Tavondre Sweat last year a little bit better than Deion Walker this year, but regardless, I'm interested in the possibilities with Deion Walker. I'll say that. He's got that lighter lower half, which a lot of people have been concerned about. Sometimes when he gets off balance, he can kind of like be thrusted one way or another just because he's so top heavy. But he does have that lighter lower half, which translates to athleticism a lot of times. Like you got the small ankles. Someone like Derek Harmon also kind of has that similar build, Deion Walker being a little bit bigger. But anyways, I think the possibilities with Deion Walker are really interesting. Obviously, the height combined with the arm length combined with the strength that he possesses, the raw power. If you can maybe, like some teams might want to trim him up, some teams might want to keep him how he is and have him just be like a run-stopping zero tech. I think that the possibilities are interesting, so I'm interested by association. So I like
Yeah.
me some Deion Walker.
A lot of, zero tech head up nose tackles in this class too, and I think he fits into that. I don't know if folks saw in the last picture, but maybe a little concerning, had no neck. So that was, no, but that was just a tech glitch there on the picture. But Yeah, on to our next grouping here. So I also want to point out, I didn't mention this in the intro, but we're going with some guys or positions rather that we didn't really highlight in our first My Guys iteration, or at least I tried to some degree. So one to go edge rusher. Next is tackle for both of us. So why don't you start with Ozzy Trapio here?
Yeah, cool. Ozzy Trapio. He's got some pedigree. His dad was a phenomenal athlete, offensive lineman, All American. So he's got some pedigree that you're really interested in. 6'7", 6'8" frame. So I think that the frame is something that obviously jumps off the page. Actually, very technically sound given the frame. I think that he uses his hands well. I think that he has quicker feet than anticipated. But with that being said, he's still not a phenomenal athlete. As it kind of once you get off balance, same with Deion Walker. Like when you're that big, like if you get off balance, it's wraps. Like there's not much you can do. You kind of have to have your technique really sound. I think Ozzy Trapio is quite good at that. He uses his hands very well. Not the greatest athlete in the world either, but I think that there's some tools that I'm interested in, and this seems like a safer tackle prospect than the rest. I mean, like he just seems like a very safe tackle prospect. I'll say that.
Yeah,
So I'll leave it at
I
that.
no, I agree. He's definitely in that day two range as well. I think, like you mentioned, a lot of teams interested in him in particular in that range because this tackle class is interesting. You definitely don't have like the top of the line guy like the Joe Alt type of prospect we had last year. So I think that he would be one of the mid day two tackles that I think a lot of teams would be interested in. Kind of in that similar vein, and maybe an earlier day two guy would be Ariante Erzuri here out of University of Minnesota. Captain for their football team, played left tackle for them all year. Huge frame, 6'6", 330, if I remember correctly. Almost ran a sub 540 at the combine. So really good, huge guy. Massive, frame. Again, has a lot of athleticism. 175, 10-yard split. I'm just looking at the numbers here. Almost 30-inch vertical, 9'3" broad jump. So yeah, really athletic guy for his size. So I think that when you combine frame and athleticism, you get certainly a guy that can do some damage in the pass game, in the zone blocking game. He was particularly good in the on tape. I noticed as well, lacking maybe a little bit of power that you would want out of your 6'6" left tackle. So 25 reps on the bench press. Again, wasn't like a mauler in the run game, but this is a guy that I think really could develop into a very strong, pass blocking tackle in the league, which obviously is becoming more and more vital as it is a passing league at this point. So yeah, definitely a guy that I think can make strides in the run game too, especially in that zone blocking scheme. Like I mentioned, he can get out in front of guys and get to the second level pretty well. Quick mover for even having the frame that he does. So a lot to like with Ariante Erzuri. I wouldn't be surprised if he made it in the end of the first round if like the Chiefs wanted to grab somebody like him. But I think he's an early day two guy if I had to guess. So a guy that I like quite a bit. Played in the Senior Bowl too, if I remember correctly, and performed pretty well there as well. So yeah, a guy that I like a lot.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we're going to move on here to the tight ends. This one, I do quite. I'll go ahead and talk about Jacob McSorley since I'm already kind of on the topic. But Elijah Arroyo is also a great player. I'm excited to hear you talk about him. But Brimixtool, this is your Colston Loveland light. This is kind of like the for people who aren't super familiar to the Brimixtool game. Similar frame, 6'6", super long, primary receiving threat. Honestly, more of a receiver than tight end. As far as like your inline guys go, like he's definitely not going to be like usually when you're 6'6" or longer, you can kind of like body up people and kind of like that's enough. You don't have to be super strong. Jake Brimingstool definitely Brenningstool. I keep throwing off the name, but either way, the play strength is a question for him, but I think the receiving ability and the quickness is definitely there. Could polish up the routes a little bit more, but definitely a natural catcher of the football. He has a really good feel in the pass game. So I think this is like if you're the Kansas City Chiefs on day 3 and you're like, let's just see what we can do with someone who's kind of got the same mold of like a Kelsey. Definitely Brenningstool is a little bit less of your like power. I mean, Kelsey's not the strongest guy in the world either, but like Brenningstool is definitely less than that. He can be your true like receiving threat if you want somebody maybe detached from the line of scrimmage or or if you want somebody to be like a lighter inline guy, you could definitely have Brenningstool that be that guy. Anyways, I really like Brenningstool, so we'll leave it at that.
Was he a former receiver? Do you know by chance, or did he convert? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
for sure. But he definitely moves like a receiver. Like if he did in his past, even based on the picture, it just kind of looks like he's got like the receiver frame. So
I was gonna. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did.
yeah. I wasn't sure either, but just frame and the way you were talking about it, I haven't gone into depth with him a little bit here at this point, but yeah, it seems like he could have been a receiver formerly. Happens a lot. Yeah. So then the guy I'm going to talk about is Elijah Arroyo. Maybe not like a deep sleeper in the tight end position at this point, just because obviously the buzz that Cam Ward's been getting, Elijah Arroyo has talked about a lot as well. But just a guy that we probably are still not talking about enough. Just,
Yeah.
talk about athletic anomalies from the tight end position. I think this is one of those guys. I mean, he is an incredible athlete. You watch him on tape, he is outrunning corners, safety. Like he is moving on tape oftentimes. There's that one play against Georgia Tech where it often gets highlighted as one of Cam Ward's best anticipatory throws, where they run like the three verts concept on the left side, and Arroyo wraps around, and before he even turns his head around, Cam Ward's got the ball on him. But after that, he's gone. I mean, goes another 50 yards to the house, and you can really see the speed on display there when Elijah Arroyo gets running. So yeah, just a freak athlete. I wouldn't be surprised to see some 4.4 numbers in the 40 if he were to run it. He's also bigger than I thought as well. Citing Cam Ward, watching his pro day, you could just see Arroyo in that, with the other receivers, with Cam Ward, even with the center that was out there too. Arroyo is a big guy. Like he is
Fills out
towering.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he fills. Yeah, he's got broad shoulders. He's standing out above all of them. So I mean, you get somebody with that size, that athleticism. I actually think he could turn into a pretty decent blocker as an inline guy, potentially too. And of course, you could get him off the line also. Detached and being in that stand-up, receiver spot as well. Obviously, he thrives in that most at this point, but I think he's got a lot of potential. Just a guy that, again, I know he's kind of, it's weird to say he's not talked about a lot because it feels like he kind of is, but probably just still not enough of a conversation around Elijah Arroyo.
In the grand scheme of draft conversations, I'll say I don't hear him enough. So I'm going to agree with you there. Definitely other guys we talk about more. And I'll let you go and start because Noel Williams has been a guy who's been a name that a lot of people have really been interested in.
Yeah, this is a guy that he just plays with just the aggressive knack that you want to have if you're a corner. If you're outside, like lockdown corner, you want to have the type of demeanor that Noel Williams has. Confident, loves to press the line of scrimmage, strong guy. The knock on him, excuse me, is that he's just not the speed guy. He doesn't have the speed that you'd ideally want. I think he was low 4.5s, if I remember correctly, at the combine. So the long speed is a concern, but that's not really his game. Probably he's probably more of that press man corner, press zone corner, just being able to get in guys' grill at the line of scrimmage, get hands on him, that type of thing, and do his stuff there. So I could see him fitting, some different teams like that that want to press their corners a lot. I know like the Lions pressed their corners a lot this past year, so I could see him fitting a need there. Probably a day 3 guy realistically, but again, I just like the tenacity he plays with, and he's got that chip on his shoulder. It feels like a transfer guy, I believe too. So he's been around the block a little bit, been making plays for a while, and then at Cal really kind of broke out a little bit this year. So a guy that I'm definitely interested in moving forward here.
Yeah. Great player. Quinshot Judkins. Gosh, I'm gonna be honest. When you put this picture in here, Graham does a lot of our editing. So when I saw this picture, I immediately thought of Doug Martin. Like, tell me he doesn't look exactly
Yeah,
like the muscle hamster, dude.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
But besides his muscle hamster physical comp, no. I think his Ole Miss tape is really what brought me back to Quinshon Judkins. I mean,
Interesting.
it's hard because he was asked to do so much less with Travion Henderson there. Like Quinshon Judkins is not some amazing receiving threat. He's less creative with the football in your hands than you would like this year than Ole Miss. I mean, this year at Ohio State, obviously, but because they let Travion Henderson be that like creative guy, and then Quinshon Judkins is like, let's get north and south and tough out some of these yards. So I think that in the grand scheme of the draft, like it's not crazy to say Quinshon Judkins is some deep sleeper. But when you look at the running back class as a whole, I think he's flying under the radar. So that's the reason I have him here. But the Ole Miss tape, like he's got like some bionic knees, and he's like I have a true affinity for like the one cut north and south backs. and that's what Quinshon Judkins is. And then the Ole Miss tape is just phenomenal. That's kind of like my whole thought process for this one.
Yeah, he definitely. I've seen a lot of people say it, and I could totally see it. Like he's probably more of like the bell cow type of guy at the next level versus like the Travion Henderson, more of your change of pace guy, kind of home run hitter. I could definitely see that as well. So if you value that, if you're a team that values that in particular at the running back spot, or you need a guy like that, I think he's your guy versus Henderson. So yeah, definitely a guy. I mean, this is a really deep running back class, so it's really just kind of pick your flavor for the most part. But definitely a guy that I think is a lot better than people are talking about. And again, it's kind of the nature of the running back class this year. It's just a really, really loaded class all around.
Yeah, and maybe we should bring this up in the video we're going to do next, which is going to be our big board, our final big board. I think that a lot of the picks that we have for these guys, for my guys, or people on my big board, are types of guys that I personally like the play style of which I like. Like if I was a coach, I would want this player because this is what I would want to do on offense. I don't know if that's like valid thinking. That's just the way that I operate when I create my big board. Obviously, I take other stuff into consideration as well, but that's definitely something that I personally look at. I'll go ahead and get started here with Denzel Burke. What really brought me to Denzel Burke's game was the combine. The fluidity in his hips. Like I like to take notes when I watch the combine. Like that's just something that I enjoy doing. And then as I was watching it, I was kind of just jotting down thoughts, and I was like, "Gosh, Denzel Burke looks incredibly fluid out there." If you haven't seen his combine, like out there doing the drills, he looks like If you were like, if you covered up everybody's faces, their bodies, and you were like, "Hey, this guy's a first round player," I would be like, "I believe it." Like just his movement skills are crazy. Super fluid hips, fast feet. I think the biggest complaint with him or the biggest knock on his game is the long speed. I think that he struggles to keep up with like the faster guys. Now, if he can land, I know previously in the video or the beginning of the video we mentioned that like if guys can land in the right spot, I think that Denzel Burke is one of those guys where if he lands in like a true bump and run kind of like system where he doesn't have to like have this incredible long speed where he can kind of just like get a hand on somebody and like pace out and then flip his hips quick. If he can have his hips open to the quarterback on most plays, I think that's the world you want to live in if you have someone like Denzel Burke. Not a super high interception. I think he had 4 interceptions in his entire career, but his pass breakup percentage was quite high. So maybe the numbers are a little misleading if you look at it with the raw eye. But I like Denzel Burke quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to Noah Williams as well, just getting these guys in the right system.
Yeah.
Again, we both kind of like that type of corner. I mean, you obviously want a guy who's got some speed to catch, to be able to keep up with these receivers at this point and the speed that they're playing with. But there's value certainly in these type of guys we're talking about as well. One thing I didn't mention with Noah Williams, on the flip side of what you had mentioned with Denzel Burke, he is a really good. He's got a lot of production in terms of interceptions. I think only Quincy Riley in this draft class has more, and so. Good, good with ball skills in the air. Another thing that's important, especially if you're going to be this type of corner, you want to be able to, get your hand on the football, knock footballs away, catch the football, interception, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all good points there. Andrew Makuba, safety out of Texas and formerly Clemson. This is a guy that I absolutely love. This is a dog, and so I know last time we talked about the other Texas DB for me, Jade Barron. This guy, Andrew Makuba, is almost more impressive to me. This guy, he's a stud. I mean, really the only knock on him whatsoever is his size. He is very unideal size. I think he weighed in at 186 at the combine. He's 5'11", 186. Okay, his pro day he weighed in at 194. But yeah, he's not going to play at that.
Might be a little inflated, that number, as with most combine numbers, but
well, no, that was his pro day, so he probably
or
beefed
pro
up for
day,
that.
yeah.
So he's not going to play at 194. He's a smaller guy, and that's a fair knock, I would say. But if you're talking about just as a football player, I mean, this guy's a dog. He's in the words of Dane Brugler from The Beast, he is shot out of a cannon when he comes to fill the gap, play the run game. I mean, he's got fire up his butt when he's coming down the alley, making tackles, making plays on the football, all the type of stuff that you want out of your kind of roaming safety back there. This guy can do that for you. I also saw in the Beast as well, if you guys haven't checked out The Beast from Dane Brugler, ton of really good insight on players, even like their background and stuff like that. One thing I did know he went to Clemson, but what I didn't realize is the reason he left Clemson was because, quote unquote, he wasn't being pushed enough, in his opinion. And so he wanted to go to Texas to, compete for a national championship, get coached harder, I guess, in his mind. And that's the type of guy that I think, is the type of personality you need to be able to make up for size concerns. So, again, he's got burst. He's able to come down, fill the alley, make tackles. He plays bigger than he is. I think just the size, the only thing really holding him back, and I think would be the only thing that does ultimately hold him back at this point. So yeah, I like Andrew Makuba a lot. One of the the day 2 or day 3 safeties that I like a lot in this draft.
I think it's interesting. I had not heard that about him transferring. Like, I love that, and I think that you and I definitely have an affinity for this type of player, like guys who just like ball, like
He's
forget
just a
the
dog.
size, just go out and ball. Like, and all football fan. If you love football, you love guys like that. I forgot what I was gonna say. It's trailing my mind. But that's what I was gonna say. I think that it's the safety position, and like especially you're like even though he's smaller, I feel like he could play like in the box a little bit if he had to, or maybe like slide out and play, some like I'm blanking on it's play like some nickel if he needed to, like definitely like a piece you can move around. Those type of guys, I like guys that just like fly to the football, like people who are you have no idea like the type of power that it can be expressed from that frame, like.
Relentless pursuit. That's what this
There you
guy
go.
plays
Thank
with.
you.
Yeah,
That's brother
there you
telepathy
go.
because I was thinking of the
A little
phrasing
bit
and
of
I
middle
was I
school
was
football
folding there. Yeah,
terminology on you there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Relentless pursuit. No, it's
yeah.
exactly what he is. So I love that type of player as well.
He's just a football player, and that's a lot of times in these league circles. That's the ultimate compliment. We've heard that before. That if this guy's a football player, it's a guy you want on your team. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely at the least, I think could contribute a lot on special teams. But I mean, I think he's got more in the tank than that. I think really just the size, the only thing holding. If this guy was Nick Emenworry's size, I think he'd be like day 1 pick all day long. So, and it's a fair concern. In the NFL, you got to be able to make tackles, bring guys down, that sort of thing. So it's fair, but we've seen guys, Quandre Diggs, not the biggest guy in the world. We've seen, there be success for these guys. So I think he could potentially be on that trajectory. So we'll see.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I believe that's the last one. I think we stopped there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
was
last
it.
one. Do you have any other thoughts before we wrap up the video here? I got a fly going around our room.
No, that's it. Just wanted to highlight some other guys in the draft a little bit more, guys not being talked about as much. So wanted to highlight some different positions. Again, different guys that we like you mentioned, just for maybe what we would ideally want out of those positions at the next level and kind of what we feel like succeeds. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that one. So thanks for tuning in here, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.
Until next time.